How you going, year 8? Today we are doing a transformations review lesson. What we're going to be doing is we're copying this trapezium onto grid paper to show its new position. We're going to be doing some translations, some rotations and reflections. So we need to remember there's three kinds of transformations. A translation is when you slide something, so it might be up and to the right or down and to the left or something like that, but it stays the same orientation. Rotation is when you imagine yourself holding the shape at a point and then rotating around that point. So one point stays still and the other points move around it. Reflection is like holding up a mirror at a particular point. So you're going to see the opposite sort of orientation of that thing at a particular line. So for this shape, we've got to be really careful. Now, remember, the trick when you're copying these shapes is you want to draw them looking at the points rather than the whole overall shape. And you want to look at how far relative to the other points are the other points away from each other. Okay, so if I start with my point A here, I've got to count how many grid squares on my grid paper is D below. So I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I draw D. Then how many is C across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give me C, and then B is 2 above that. Okay, and once you've got your points, you can then draw your lines with a ruler so that you have your shape. Now, when we do a transformation, we get a new image and we use the notation of A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. And that shows the image of the new shape after the transformation. So if I'm translating 3 right and 4 units down, I'm going to look at each point and I'm going to move them individually. So A goes 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So this becomes A dash. And then D does the same, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have D dash, and then B, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's B dash, and then C, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you've moved all of the things individually, you want to label them using the dash notation, and then you can join the dots using your ruler like that. Okay, that is our transformed shape. For B, we want to rotate the shape clockwise, so I'm just going to copy that shape quickly. So D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, C, B. Okay, now if we're rotating around C 90 degrees, C is staying still. And then we basically want to do a 90 degree, form a right angle with one point. Now, the easiest point for me to move would be to move this B point down here to get B dash. Okay, and then it's actually relatively easy for me. So everything that was to the left now, if I've rotated 90 degrees clockwise, will now be vertical. Okay, so we've got to think, if it was to the left, rotate 90 degrees, it's now vertical. If we were rotating 180 degrees, everything that was to the left would go to the right. If I was rotating 90 degrees anti-clockwise, everything that was to the left would go down. Okay, so that's one way that we can think about rotations. So that means it's going to be 6 away from C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sort of off the scale a bit here, but that's okay for the purposes of this. And then A is going to be, instead of 5 up, is going to be 5 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is A dash. Okay, so we've got our new shape rotated 90 degrees about the point C. Okay, C is the one that stays still because that's the point we're rotating around. Okay, now for this last one, let me just do the shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then like that. And then this time we're reflecting around the line CB. So we've got to think about a mirror being at this point. Basically, everything has got to be the same distance from the mirror on either side. So if D is 6 away from the line here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away over here. So this becomes D dash. And then A is still going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above. So I can draw my new shape. And that is my reflection. It's got to be the same distance. So you've got to be really careful on the grid that you preserve the distance between the point and the mirror is the same on either side of the mirror. Remember, think about the points, not the overall shape. Once you move the points, you can redraw the shape by connecting the dots. Okay, so now we're just going to label these transformations. So A is definitely a translation. Okay, so remember, transformation is the umbrella term. Translation is when we slide an object. Now, B looks like it's being rotated. And then C looks like it's being reflected. Now, because, it could have been translated too. So that's actually either or. Reflected, we could have had a mirror here, or because it's symmetrical, we can't actually tell. So this could have also just been translated. It could have just been slided down too. Either is fine for that one. Okay, for P is the point with coordinates 5, 12. So this time we're moving coordinates. So we've got to think 5, 12, if we had an axis, would be about here, okay? It's not to scale or anything, but we're in that quadrant. If we were to translate it 3 units right, that means we're increasing in the X value. And then 10 units down would mean we're going decreasing in the Y value. So 3 right would make it go to 8, and then 10 units down, it would go to 2. Okay, so if you're moving left, you're decreasing, you're making your X value negative. If you're moving up, your Y value increases. Okay, reflected in the X-axis. Okay, so the new point, if we flip it over the X-axis, is going to be somewhere down here. Okay, it's going to be the same distance from that thing. So the X value stays the same, but the Y value is going to become the opposite of that, okay? Because it's now going to be 12 away on the other side of the X-axis. And then finally, for C, rotate clockwise about the origin through 90 degrees. So if we have a line like this, okay, we're rotating it this way clockwise. Okay, so it's going to be about here to form that right angle. And what's happening then is our X value is going to be we're flipping our X and Y value around. So what was our X value becomes a Y value, but it's also going to be a negative Y value as well. So we sort of swap the values and then make the Y1 negative when we convert and when we rotate 90 degrees. So the coordinates of this, the X value is going to be 12, which was the Y value. And we can see it's still positive. And then the Y value is going to become negative 5 because we've flipped the 2 coordinates, but we can see we're now below the X-axis. So we've got negative Y. Okay, draw a shape with 2 axes of symmetry and rotational symmetry of order 2. Okay, I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, we've got 2 axes of symmetry. There's one. There's one. And then if we were to rotate it, okay, 180 degrees, we would get back to the same shape. Okay, so it has rotational order symmetry 2 because if you were to do a full rotation, you would get the same shape twice. Okay, so that is our shape that has those properties. Okay, I hope this helps with the review set today. Good luck, and I'll see you later.